Preface. This is not a story about shortcuts. This is not a fairy tale about overnight success. This is the raw, unfiltered truth about what it takes to go from a losing trader to a consistently profitable one. If you're reading this, you're probably where I was, frustrated, depleted, questioning whether trading is even worth it. I wrote this book for you, because someone needed to tell me these truths 4 years ago, and maybe I could have saved myself years of pain. But maybe not. Maybe I needed every loss, every blown account, every sleepless night to become the trader I am today. You'll decide which path is yours. Chapter 1. The beginning of the end. I started trading Forex with dreams. Big dreams. The kind that keep you up at night scrolling through Instagram, looking at traders posing next to Lamborghinis, showing off their watch collections, flashing screenshots of 5-figure days. I wanted that life. I deserved that life. Or so I thought. My first trade was pure adrenaline. I opened a position on Euro USD with money I had saved from my security job. The price moved in my direction, and for 15 glorious minutes I watched my account grow. Green numbers, profit. This was easy. This was my calling. Then the market reversed. Within an hour, I had lost everything I made and more. But I didn't close the trade. I held on, convinced the market would turn back around. It had to. The analysis said so. The YouTube guru said so. My gut said so. The market didn't care what I thought. It never does. By the end of that first week, my account was down 40%, but I wasn't worried. I was learning. Every trader loses at first, right? I just needed more knowledge, better indicators, a stronger strategy. So I kept going. Chapter 2. The Cycle of Destruction. Year 1 became Year 2. Year 2 became Year 3. The pattern was always the same. Study a new strategy, backtest it, feel confident, start trading live, win a few trades, get excited, increase position size, hit a losing streak, panic, abandon the strategy, blame the strategy, search for a new one, repeat. I tried everything. Price action, ICT concepts, supply and demand zones, moving average crossovers, Fibonacci retracements, harmonic patterns. I bought courses, I joined Discord groups, I watched hundreds of hours of YouTube tutorials. I even paid for one-on-one coaching sessions with traders who claimed to make 6 figures a month. Nothing worked. Or rather, everything worked until it didn't. The real problem wasn't the strategies. The strategies were fine. Some were even excellent. The problem was me, but I didn't know that yet. I kept looking outside for solutions to problems that lived inside my mind. The financial bleeding. Let me be honest about the money. Over 4 years, I lost approximately $17,000. For some traders, that's pocket change. For me, working a night shift security job in Morocco, that was devastating. That was supposed to be my seed capital for a better life, for my business dreams, for my mother. I didn't lose it all at once. That would have been merciful. Instead, I lost it slowly, account by account, hope by hope. Each blown account came with the same promise. This time will be different. I've learned my lesson. I won't make the same mistakes. But I did, over and over and over. The emotional toll. The money was bad. The emotional damage was worse. Trading had consumed my life. I would wake up at 2 a.m. to catch the London session open. I would check my phone during family dinners. I became irritable, isolated, obsessed. Friends stopped asking about my trading because they could see the pain in my eyes when I had to admit, again, that I wasn't profitable yet. My confidence eroded, not just in trading, in everything. If I couldn't master this one thing I had committed years to, what did that say about me? Was I just not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not destined for success? The worst part was the shame. I had told people I was going to become a professional trader. I had posted about it on Instagram. I had started a YouTube channel called The Sigma Edge, where I talked about trading, psychology, and mindset. And behind the scenes, I was failing, miserably. Chapter 3. Rock Bottom. Year 4 hit differently. By this point, I almost had nothing left. My savings were gone, my motivation was gone, my belief was gone. I was still working my security job, still analyzing charts, still taking trades, but it was mechanical now, empty. I wasn't trading to win anymore. I was trading because I didn't know how to quit. In March 2025, I had one of my worst trading months ever. I violated every rule I had. I revenge traded, I over-leveraged, I held losing positions hoping they would turn around. I moved stop losses. I traded during high-impact news without proper risk management. I lost account after account that month. The worst part, I didn't even feel anything anymore. No anger, no sadness, just numbness. That's when you know you've hit rock bottom, when losing doesn't hurt anymore because you expect it. The moment of clarity. One night in late March, I was sitting alone in my room after another brutal trading day. My phone was in my hand, TradingView open showing a liquidated position. I had just blown another small account, $200 that I couldn't afford to lose. I put the phone down and stared at the wall, and for the first time in 4 years, I asked myself an honest question. Why am I doing this? Not why am I losing, not what strategy should I try next, but why am I doing this? And the answer that came wasn't what I expected. I wasn't doing it for the money anymore. I wasn't doing it for the lifestyle. I was doing it to prove something, to prove I wasn't a quitter, to prove I could master something difficult, to prove I was worthy of success. But that realization led to another, more painful one. I had been approaching trading like a battle I needed to win, not a skill I needed to develop. I had been fighting the market instead of learning from it. I had been focused on proving myself instead of improving myself. That night, something shifted. I didn't have a magical epiphania. I didn't discover a secret strategy, but I made a decision. I decided that if I was going to continue trading, I needed to completely rebuild my approach from the ground up, not by finding a new strategy, but by fixing myself first.
Chapter 4. The Rebuild. I stopped trading live accounts for 2 weeks, complete cold turkey. No charts, no trades, no trading Discord servers or YouTube videos. Instead, I focused on one thing: understanding my psychology. I started journaling every day, not trade journals, emotional journals. I wrote about my fears, my insecurities, my patterns. Why did I revenge trade? Why did I move my stop losses? Why did I over-leverage when I was down? The answers were uncomfortable but necessary. I revenge traded because I needed to feel in control after a loss. I moved stop losses because I couldn't accept being wrong. I over-leveraged because I was desperate to recover losses quickly and prove I wasn't a failure. These weren't trading problems. These were life problems showing up in my trading. The 7 principles. After 2 weeks of deep reflection, I created 7 non-negotiable principles that would guide my trading going forward. I didn't care about strategies anymore. I cared about becoming the kind of person who could execute any strategy with discipline. 1. Accept losses as data, not failures. Every loss is feedback. The market is teaching me where my analysis was wrong or where my execution was flawed. Losses don't mean I'm a bad trader. They mean I'm learning. 2. Process over outcome. I cannot control whether a trade wins or loses. I can only control whether I followed my rules. A winning trade that violated my rules is a failure. A losing trade that followed my rules perfectly is a success. 3. Risk only what I can afford to lose without emotion. If losing a trade would affect my mood, my sleep, or my decisions, I'm risking too much, period. 4. One trade at a time. No averaging down, no adding to losers, no just one more trade after hitting my daily loss limit. Each trade is independent. 5. Protect capital first, grow it second. My job isn't to make money. My job is to not lose money. If I can preserve my capital, opportunities will always present themselves. 6. Trade what I see, not what I want. The market doesn't care about my bills, my goals, or my need to make money this week. I trade the setup in front of me or I don't trade at all. 7. Ego has no place in trading. Being right doesn't matter. Making money doesn't matter. What matters is executing my process with discipline, learning from every trade, and improving 1% every day. These principles became my foundation. I printed them out and taped them above my trading desk. Every morning before I opened my charts, I read them out loud. They weren't just rules, they were a rewiring of my entire mindset. The strategy simplification. With my psychology work underway, I turned to my strategy. I had spent years chasing complexity, thinking that more indicators meant more accuracy. I was wrong. I stripped everything down to the bare essentials. Daily and 4-hour time frame for bias and key levels. 1-hour time frame for entry confirmation. Clean price action, support, resistance, trend lines, candlestick patterns. Risk-reward minimum of 1 to 2 on every trade. Maximum 2 trades per day. That's it. No fancy indicators, no secret algorithms, just clean, simple technical analysis combined with strict risk management. The strategy wasn't new. I had actually used variations of it before, but this time was different because I was different. I wasn't looking for the strategy to make me profitable. I was looking for a framework to execute my new psychological principles. Chapter 5. The week that changed everything. April 2025, first week. I started trading again with a small account, $300. The old me would have been embarrassed by such a small balance. The new me saw it as an opportunity to prove my process worked. Monday, April 7th. My first trade back was on GBP USD. I saw a clear rejection at a daily resistance level with a bearish engulfing candle on the 1-hour chart. My rules said this was a valid setup. My risk was 1% of my account, $3. My target was $6, 2-to-1 reward to risk. I entered the trade and immediately felt the old anxiety creeping in, the urge to watch the chart tick by tick, the temptation to move my stop loss just a little to avoid getting stopped out. But I didn't. I set my stop, set my target, and closed the trading app. 4 hours later, I checked back. The trade had hit my target, $6 profit. My account was now at $306. The old me would have immediately looked for another trade to capitalize on momentum. The new me logged the trade in my journal, reviewed what I did right, and walked away. 1 trade per session was my rule. Tuesday, April 8th. No valid setups. The market was choppy, moving sideways without clear direction. The old me would have forced a trade anyway because I needed to make money. The new me did nothing. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. I closed my charts after 15 minutes of analysis and went for a run. Wednesday, April 9th. Euro USD presented a beautiful setup at a key support level. Clean bounce, bullish engulfing candle, everything aligned. 1% risk, $3.06. Target, $9.18. 3-to-1 reward to risk. I entered and again closed the app. This time the trade took longer, almost 9 hours, but when I checked before bed, it had hit target. My account was now at $315. 2 trades, 2 wins, $15 profit. But the real victory wasn't the money, it was that I had executed my process perfectly. I felt calm, in control. For the first time in 4 years, I felt like a real trader. Thursday, April 10th. The market tested me. I took a trade on USD CAD at what looked like a strong resistance level, but the setup failed. The price broke through my stop loss within 2 hours. Loss, $3.15. This was the moment that mattered. The old me would have spiraled, revenge traded, tried to win it back immediately. The new me sat with the loss. I journaled about it, reviewed the trade. The setup was valid, the execution was clean. Sometimes the market just doesn't cooperate. That's trading. I didn't take another trade that day. My account was at $311.85, still up for the week, still following my process, still in control. Friday, April 11th. The week ended with another winning trade on GBP USD. Clean setup, perfect execution, 3-to-1 reward to risk, $9.36 profit.
Final account balance, $321.21. 3 trades. 3 trades taken, 2 wins, 1 loss. Total profit for the week, $21.21. 7% account growth. Chapter 6. What actually changed? Here's what most people miss about breakthrough moments in trading. They're not about discovering a magical strategy or finding a secret indicator. They're about finally becoming the trader who can execute simple principles with unwavering discipline. That week in April wasn't magic. I didn't trade differently from a technical standpoint. The setups I took were the same setups I had taken hundreds of times before over 4 years. The difference was me. The real transformation. The change happened in these areas. Emotional regulation. I stopped treating losses as personal attacks. When my Thursday trade hit stop loss, I didn't internalize it as I'm a bad trader. I externalized it as that trade didn't work out. The separation between my identity and my trading results was crucial. Process obsession. I became obsessed with executing my rules, not with making money. On Tuesday, when there were no setups, not trading felt like a victory because I had followed my process. The old me would have felt anxious about missing opportunities. Risk awareness. Every trade was 1% risk, no exceptions. No, this one looks really good, let me risk 2%. Consistency in risk meant consistency in emotional state. I never had a trade that could devastate my account or my psychology. Time freedom. By trading only the daily and 4-hour time frames with quick 1-hour confirmations, I freed myself from screen time. I wasn't watching charts for 8 hours a day anymore. I would analyze, execute if there was a setup, and walk away. Trading became a part of my life, not my entire life.
Acceptance of uncertainty. I finally accepted that I cannot predict what any individual trade will do. I can only execute high-probability setups with proper risk management and let probabilities play out over time. That acceptance removed the desperate need for each trade to win. The numbers don't lie. After that first week, I continued with the same approach. Here's what happened over the next 12 weeks. Total trades taken, 42. Winning trades, 27. Losing trades, 15. Win rate, 64%. Average risk reward, 1 to 2.5. Account growth, 83% in 12 weeks. Largest single loss, 1%. Largest drawdown, 4%. More importantly than the numbers, days I revenge traded, 0. Days I over-leveraged, 0. Days I moved my stop loss, 0. Days I felt out of control, 0. That last metric matters more than all the others combined. I had finally found consistency. Not just in profitability, but in execution. And consistent execution with a positive expectancy strategy inevitably leads to consistent profitability. Chapter 7. The real lessons. Looking back at 4 years of losing and 3 months of winning, I can now see clearly what I couldn't see before. These lessons cost me $17,000 and countless sleepless nights. I'm sharing them so maybe they won't cost you as much. Lesson 1. The strategy was never the problem. I wasted years searching for the perfect strategy. I bought courses, studied indicators, learned complex concepts. None of it mattered because the problem wasn't my strategy, it was my inability to execute any strategy with discipline. Here's the truth. Almost any strategy with positive expectancy will make money if executed consistently with proper risk management. The holy grail isn't a strategy, it's self-mastery. You could give a beginner trader the most profitable strategy in the world and they would still lose money because they don't have the psychological foundation to execute it properly. Conversely, a disciplined trader can take a mediocre strategy and make it profitable through perfect execution and risk management. Stop searching for strategies, start building discipline.
Lesson 2. You must lose your way to winning. There is no shortcut. You cannot watch YouTube videos and become profitable. You cannot buy a course and skip the pain. You must experience loss. You must feel the frustration, the doubt, the shame, because that pain is what teaches you what no book or video ever can. My 4 years of losing weren't wasted time. They were necessary. Every blown account taught me something about myself. Every revenge trade showed me where my discipline was weak. Every time I moved my stop loss revealed my inability to accept being wrong. I needed those lessons, and you'll need yours too. The question isn't whether you'll lose, you will. The question is whether you'll learn from it. Lesson 3. Small accounts, big lessons. The greatest gift I gave myself was starting with small amounts I could afford to lose. $300 felt insignificant, but it allowed me to trade without fear. When your entire account is at stake on every trade, you cannot think clearly. You cannot execute objectively. The money means too much. Start small. So small that losing the entire account would sting but not devastate you. Trade that account with perfect discipline. Grow it slowly. Only when you can consistently execute your rules on a small account should you even consider scaling up. Don't let ego push you to trade larger amounts before you're ready. I know the $3 gains feel pathetic compared to the dreams you have, but those $3 gains, executed with discipline, are worth more than any lucky $100 win you stumble into. Lesson 4. The market rewards patience, punishes urgency. Every time I forced to trade because I needed to make money, I lost. Every time I took trades out of boredom or FOMO, I lost. Every time I couldn't wait for my setup and jumped in early, I lost. The market does not care about your bills, your goals, your timeline, or your emotions. The market will present opportunities when it presents opportunities. Your job is to wait for them with the patience of a sniper. Some days you won't trade. Some weeks will be slow. That's not failure, that's discipline. The traders who make money aren't the ones who trade the most. They're the ones who trade the best setups with perfect execution. Lesson 5. Protect your mind before your capital. I spent years focused on risk management strategies, position sizing, and stop-loss placement, all important, but I ignored the most important risk management of all, protecting my mental and emotional state. When you're emotionally compromised, angry, desperate, overconfident, fearful, no risk management strategy will save you. You'll violate your rules, you'll revenge trade, you'll over-leverage. Your psychology is your first line of defense. That's why I now journal before I trade, why I meditate, why I take breaks after losses, why I celebrate the days I don't trade when there are no setups. Protecting my mental state is protecting my capital. Lesson 6. Process goals replace outcome goals. For 4 years, my goal was make X amount per month. That goal destroyed me because I couldn't control outcomes. I could take a perfect trade and still lose. I could take a terrible trade and still win. Focusing on outcomes made me frustrated with good trading and encouraged bad trading if it accidentally worked. Now my goals are process-based. Follow my trading rules on every trade. Journal every trade with honest reflection. Take only setups that meet my criteria. Risk exactly 1% per trade. Never revenge trade or over-leverage.
Review my trading every week. These goals are completely within my control. When I achieve them, I'm successful, regardless of whether individual trades win or lose. And ironically, when I stopped focusing on making money, I started making money. Lesson 7. You're trading against yourself, not the market. This is the hardest lesson to accept. The market isn't your enemy. The market is neutral. It doesn't know you exist. It doesn't care whether you win or lose. The market just is. Your enemy is your own psychology, your fear, your greed, your ego, your impatience, your need to be right, your inability to accept loss, your desperation for success. Every time I lost money over 4 years, it wasn't because the market took it from me. It was because I gave it away through emotional decisions and undisciplined execution. The market simply provided the arena for me to defeat myself. When you realize this, trading transforms. You stop fighting the market and start managing yourself. And that's when everything changes. Chapter 8. What comes next? I'm not writing this book as someone who has made it. I'm writing this as someone who finally figured out how to stop losing. There's a difference. I'm 3 months into consistent profitability after 4 years of consistent failure. I'm cautiously optimistic, but deeply humble. The market has a way of humbling everyone eventually. I know that my edge isn't permanent unless I continue to evolve. I know that complacency will destroy me as quickly as desperation did. I know that one bad week could test everything I've learned. But here's what I also know. I'm no longer the trader I was. I've been forged in the fire of repeated failure and emerged with something valuable. Not a perfect win rate or a massive account, but discipline, self-awareness, emotional regulation, a process I trust. My commitment going forward. I commit to these principles. Never stop learning. Markets evolve. I must evolve with them. I'll continue studying, practicing, refining my approach, but I'll never abandon my core principles in search of the next shiny strategy. Stay humble. Every win could have been a loss. Every loss could have been a win. I'm not special. I'm not smarter than the market. I'm just a trader executing a process and letting probabilities play out. Help others. I started my YouTube channel and Instagram to document my journey. I want to be honest about the struggles, not just the wins. If my story helps one person avoid the mistakes I made, the 4 years of pain will have been worth it. Measure success differently. Success isn't just about money. It's about consistency, discipline, growth, peace of mind, the ability to lose without spiraling, the courage to trade small and patient while building toward bigger goals. Protect the process. The moment I start cutting corners, over-leveraging, revenge trading, or violating my rules, I'll step back. No amount of profit is worth returning to the chaos I escaped.
Chapter 9. A message to the trader who's losing right now. If you're reading this and you're in the middle of your own losing streak, whether it's been weeks, months, or years, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're not stupid. You're not unlucky. You're not cursed. You're learning, and learning is painful. Every trader who is consistently profitable today was once consistently unprofitable. Every successful trader has blown accounts, made stupid decisions, revenge traded, over-leveraged, and felt the crushing weight of repeated failure. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent or intelligence. It's persistence through pain and the willingness to look inward. Questions to ask yourself. If you're struggling, stop searching for new strategies and start asking yourself these questions. Why do I revenge trade? What emotion am I trying to escape or prove wrong? Why do I over-leverage? Am I desperate, impatient, trying to recover losses? Why do I move my stop losses? Can I not accept being wrong? Am I too attached to being right? Why do I take trades that don't meet my criteria? Am I bored, afraid of missing out, lacking discipline? Why do I trade with money I can't afford to lose? Am I trying to escape financial problems? Do I see trading as a lottery ticket? When I'm winning, why do I become reckless? Do I confuse luck with skill? Does ego take over? Why don't I follow my rules consistently? Do I not trust my process? Have I not done enough work to build that trust? Be brutally honest. Write down your answers. These questions will reveal more about your trading than any technical analysis lesson ever could. The honest timeline. Don't believe anyone who says you can be profitable in 3 months. Maybe you can. Maybe you're a savant. But for most of us, it takes years. I needed 4 years of losing before I was ready for 3 months of winning. That doesn't mean you need exactly 4 years. It means you need however long it takes to build emotional regulation, develop unshakable discipline, create and trust a process, learn to manage risk religiously, separate your identity from your trading results, accept losses as data, not failures, trade without desperation or fear. Those skills take time. There is no shortcut. Anyone selling you one is lying.
Permission to start small. You have my permission to trade a $50 account, a $100 account, $300 like I did. Don't let anyone shame you for small beginnings. The ego-driven traders will mock you. The scammers will tell you that you need thousands to make meaningful progress. Ignore them. Start small, trade it perfectly, grow it slowly. Prove to yourself that you can execute your process with discipline before you scale up. There is no rush. The market will still be here next year and the year after that. Permission to take breaks. If trading is destroying your mental health, your relationships, your finances, or your peace of mind, stop. Take a break. Days, weeks, months, however long you need. Trading will still be here when you're ready to come back with a clearer mind and a better approach. I took a 2-week break before my breakthrough. That space allowed me to reflect, rebuild, and return stronger. Stepping away isn't quitting. Sometimes it's the most intelligent thing you can do. Chapter 10. The truth about making it. Let me tell you what nobody talks about. Even when you become consistently profitable, trading doesn't become easy. It becomes manageable. There's a difference. I still feel anxiety before entering trades. I still feel the sting of losses. I still have days where I want to take revenge trades or break my rules. The difference now is that I recognize those feelings, acknowledge them, and choose not to act on them. Discipline isn't the absence of temptation. It's the consistent choice to do what's right even when every part of you wants to do what's easy. What success actually looks like. Success in trading doesn't look like Lamborghinis and Rolex watches, at least not at first. For most of us, it looks like slowly growing a small account with consistent execution, having more winning weeks than losing weeks, being able to take a loss and move on calmly, following your rules even when it's boring, choosing not to trade when there are no setups, protecting your capital above chasing profits, improving your win rate or risk-reward over time, feeling in control of your decisions. That's success. Anything beyond that, the money, the freedom, the lifestyle, comes as a byproduct of consistent success. But you must master the foundation first. The relationship with money. I've also learned that trading and money have a complicated relationship. When you need the money too much, you can't trade well. When you trade well without needing the money desperately, that's when it comes. This is the paradox. You must care enough about trading to give it your full effort and discipline, but not care so much about individual trades or outcomes that your emotions sabotage you. I can trade well now because I've accepted that my $300 account is money I can lose. That acceptance frees me to execute objectively. If I were trading with my last $300, desperately needing it to pay rent, I wouldn't be able to think clearly. The pressure would break me. Trade with money that losing would hurt but not destroy you. That's the sweet spot. Conclusion. Your week is coming. 4 years of losing taught me more than 3 months of winning ever could. The losses were my education. The pain was my tuition. The frustration was my training ground. That 1 week in April 2025 didn't change everything because I got lucky or found a secret strategy. It changed everything because I had finally changed myself. I had built the psychological foundation that every successful trader needs, and once that foundation was solid, the wins were inevitable. Your breakthrough week is coming. I don't know when. It might be next month. It might be next year. It might take 4 years like it did for me, but it's coming if you do the work. Not the work of finding strategies, the work of fixing yourself, the work of building discipline, the work of emotional regulation, the work of honest self-reflection, the work of journaling your trades, your emotions, your patterns, the work of following your rules even when every instinct screams to break them. Do that work. Be patient with yourself. Start small, protect your mind, trust the process. And when your week comes, and it will, you'll be ready. The market rewards those who do the hard, unglamorous work of becoming the person who can execute simple principles with extraordinary consistency. Be that person. I'll see you on the other side.